time, we're back into the crane. It's been, sorry if I overlap any of this, I've been doing this episode for about 3 weeks now, just on and off, and as we go. I've had Christmas in the meantime and bits and pieces come across, so I've actually got COVID at the moment. It's Sunday here and I can't be near my wife or children, so I just come over the shed. I couldn't lay down any longer. I feel like shit. I probably look like shit. Tested positive on Thursday night. When I come home from work, I had a sore back and legs, and it was really, really slow. I was working on a dump truck and I thought I'd pull the muscle or something when I was lifting one of the planetaries into it, and it wasn't that at all. It was just, I just started going downhill, and I tested when I got home and it was COVID, so I'll do another test tonight and see how I'm going to be for work, but I don't know. So over the last few weeks we've been doing it. We haven't just been working on this, we've been doing a lot of other stuff. So you can see behind me the Albion truck there, one of our subscribers gave us, so we went down to south coast of New South Wales to get that, down to Nowra. That was one adventure, so that was the last weekend of the holidays actually. So at the moment at the Chamberlain, I don't know what we're up to, so I've got to put the engine filler back on it. I've put an ignition barrel on it since, but that was off camera, just I come over and tinkered one afternoon. I've got the filter kit for it. The radiator's still holding water, but I'll probably have to drop that because I've got a thermostat coming from somewhere, eBay, but I haven't seen it yet. I can hook the air cleaner up. I've got a seal for the rear of the transmission because it doesn't hold oil out of the PTO shaft, which is right on the bottom of the transmission, so there'd be no oil in it. There was when we drove it, but not now. And I think I'll put it down the back until we use it, or we bring something else in here. So at the moment, I'll show you what I'm doing off. So at the moment I've been doing it off camera because I had something on the radio, but you can see the filler now. That's an extended one to come out through the hydraulic tank. That goes in on the side of the engine, the actual block it screws into. Now that's 7/16 UNF, which 7/16 isn't a common size. It's not like 1/2 inch or you know, 3/8 or anything like that. Mostly UNC you have lying around, but well, it depends on who you are, but that's what's lying around my place. But it would have to be, you know, what's that, 8 inches, maybe 10 inches long, possibly a bit more to what time it screws in and time you get a nut on it. So it broke. It was, of course, that was full of water. That faces up, and if any of you saw the first episode of when we started it, that cap was off. All that was full of dirt and water. So what it did, it rotted that bolt out. So I haven't got a bolt that long nor a thread. So there it is there. You can see how thin it is, and you can see where it broke. So that screws into the block, and she broke right there. So what I've done, I had this, it's the wrong size, but it's the right size shank. So I got a 7/16 UNF die and actually cut over that existing thread. Now why I did that, it's fairly rough, but it's taken most of that old thread off, so it screws in nicely. Why I did that, because I've just drilled this on the lathe. I'm going to tap that out to 3/8. Now as you can see, once that's tapped, there's not going to be a lot of meat left around it. So that's why I didn't thread the good section. I threaded over this, so it's just a bit thicker, and that's obviously thinner there where that's threaded. So the thread may have come through if I cut 3/8 into that. Then what I'm going to do, so that'll probably lay like that when it's in the block, and then I'll just put a bigger washer over. Even though it's a smaller shank, it'll still work once that's threaded. Once that's threaded, it'll the 3/8 will go under there. So that's like a male female stud, if you wish. 7/16 UNF male and 3/8 UNC female. So I'm just going to tap that out, and we'll put some glue on that and put it on, and then we'll hook the pre-cleaner up, or the air cleaner, and we'll do some filters, and then we'll have to lay under it to do that rear seal. Now it depends on how much I can do today. I don't feel good at all, but I was sick of laying in bed, and as I said, I can't play with the kids. I can't go near my missus, so I'll the next best thing, come over and play with this, I suppose. Okay, so basically that's what we got. It's just another way of making a long 7/16 UNF stud or bolt. I didn't video tapping that because I didn't want all the comments to be about me blunt tap. Plus I've only got my brothel creepers on today, and all the hot shards of metal going on there. There was a bit of swearing going on too, so I didn't put boots on because I can't be over here too long. I just can't last the way I'm breathing. I've got bad lungs to start with, and it's just knocking me having this. But so I think we'll just clean the surfaces up on those necks now, and just put a bit of Permatex or something on them and put them on, and that's another job done. I cleaned that up in there, probably needs a brake clean, but I did clean that up in there before I put the hydraulic tank on. Now we'll just have to give these a buff, and that's it. So after I cleaned the surfaces, I decided to use a bit of this 3-bond grey stuff. Now I swear by that, and the reason I wasn't going to use it to start with, because the Permatex is much easier, just open it up and there's a brush. These tubes here, it's getting old, this one, so the end of it dries out, so each time I use it I just got to pierce another hole in the foil tube. We use a lot of this at work, and before you say anything, no, I didn't pinch it because we don't use them, that's from eBay. I get all my stuff off eBay. We use a lot of this when we need a elastic type stuff, and when we use actually there's 2 of these. I'll just show you, this has nothing to do with the Chamberlain, but different ones. Anyway, I'll tell you about the other one. So a lot of Europe, I rebuilt a lot of transmissions, drop boxes, final drives, just components for earth movers, any of the earth movers we got. So we got Volvo, Hitachi, Caterpillar, Komatsu, you know, a lot of different brands of rollers, but a lot of the new stuff now, the European stuff especially, has got machine surfaces. They don't run gaskets, so when we'll do a drop box or something for a case, we'll use this sort of stuff. You get flange sealant, which is 515, and then the other one, I can't remember the number, but it's like a high flex gasket, and it's basically the same stuff. It's it only dries when you tighten it together. So, but it's only for thin applications. So the machine surfaces and that it's ideal for. But actually for filling in gaps, you can put this stuff on. That'll squeeze out. But it was pitted, so I used the grey stuff. A lot of the other red stuff, I don't even buy it for myself. It's just shit. But you get that red stuff, and I don't know what it's called. It's high temperature and this and that. It's for, you get it from auto shops, but it's rubbish. Like you pull it apart and you just roll. Say if we pull that off now, you just roll it off with your finger. Oil seems to make it not stick even after it's been cleaned and used. Pull it back off, it'll always leak. It'll swell. It'll react. It's just shit. If you're going to use a silicon-based flexible type sealer, that's the stuff, liquid. But you know, it depends on the application too. If it was too hot, it was going to be really, really hot, you probably wouldn't use it. But look up the specs. But it's a good all-round stuff. But for this, there's no pressure in it. I haven't even got a cap for it, so I'm just going to sit a plastic aerosol lid over it until I can find one. It's actually a radiator cap pattern, and the Albion out there has got a similar cap, because your normal size cap off a tractor won't fit. It's a bigger cap, so I think even that, and cut the spring off it or something. But anyway, that's here nor there. So it's got no pressure. It's only when you're filling it that it will leak. So I'll bolt that on now, and then we'll move on to something else. I really don't feel like laying under it the way I'm feeling today. For those of you who hadn't had COVID, it does knock you around a lot. I haven't been sleeping. Overnight it's worse. You try and sleep and it's terrible. But we'll do what we can, and it might prolong it a little bit. This episode might last a few more weeks. In the meantime, since making that bolt and cleaning these up, I just spoke to the bloke with the Chamberlain up the mid-north coast, and he said he took it down off eBay, and we're just going to do a cash settlement when I go and pick it up. So either Michael or my dad or my wife will come with me, and we'll go up and get that. I don't think it goes, but we'll load it somehow. So it's like this, but back to front, and it's a crane too. So there's one over there behind those fruit trees. You can't see. It's exactly the same as it, but they brought them out as front end loaders and with a crane jeep. Now that mate of mine, Joss, and his dad Steve have got one exactly the same as the one I'm going to get. Exactly the same. This one's got an ugly cab on it, which will go straight in the steel bin, possibly, unless it is Chamberlain, which I doubt. Yeah, that's just something else coming. I want to hit 100 tractors. At the moment I've nearly got 40 here, but probably got 100 if you include all the earth movers and trucks and everything. But I'd love to get to 100 farm tractors, but I doubt it. That's just a goal. We've all got a bucket list. So I'll bolt this on now, put some stabiliser in her. I'm going to put some ATF in the diesel tank just to ATF, whether you're using it to unseize an engine or spray it through an injector, will unseize. It loosens up carbon basically. So this is sat for those of you who have seen it for between 40 and 50 years it's sat. So the way it runs, I reckon a couple of rings are stuck. So it smokes, but I'm going to put some ATF in it, and hopefully that will, I don't know, hopefully it will loosen those rings up. I may be wrong, it might be a diesel, it might be an injector, it might be a diesel thing like the injector pump, but we'll see. And just because I have got COVID, I'll just fill you in. I sort of never too sick just between you and me to have a quick one of them either. Feels nice on your sore throat when it's lovely and cold. Might help me sleep when I go back to the house. So I'll set yous up here. Probably not going to see too much, but put this through here. Just going to get in the way of the camera for a minute. And up.
It doesn't fall in as much anymore. Go down and grow all Christmas. Just got that.
So there's another job without spending any money, using what you got, without buying a thread, without buying a threaded rod, a bar, a bolt. Just use what you got. Thank God I had the lathe, because drilling a hole down the centre of a bolt like that would be a bit of a task without coming out the side of it. That's the cap. We'll have to find one for that until we get proper ones. Me and my dad working over here. I'm not going near him with the COVID. We both got masks on. He's working on the excavator. I'll put that snorkel on now. I'll just get the parts of that ready. It's a 3-inch air cleaner inlet. So this is off a Caterpillar D10T, which we pulled off one of our D10s to, it was a cab filter. We pulled it off to put a HEPA filter on it, which when they work in contaminated areas, they've got to have those to, in case the dust is contaminated with asbestos or anything like that. So, and plus they are cab pressuriser, so stop the dust leaking in, as well as filter the air going into it. So this was going in the bin, didn't have that on it. That was one I had here off a tractor. 3-inch and 2-inch on the Perkins. So I bought this off eBay for a couple of dollars, 3 to 2. I've got some 2-inch, probably hydraulic suction hose, which is fine, and some 2-inch exhaust pipe. So I'm just going to have to cut a bit of that off to join this, to join that to that, and screw it all together. I'll just cut that to length and come back. These stainless steel hose clamps, when they load up, they always bind up. There we go to these filters. The camera memory card filled up when I was doing that air cleaner, so you didn't get to see the whole lot of that, but not that it was, you missed anything anyway, but I had to ring my wife and find out what she'd already edited and what I could delete, so it took a bit of time, but we're back into it. I don't think I've had this one off even after that first start. I didn't want to disturb it. Probably going to siphon out of that fuel tank too because it's higher. Certainly, oh look at that frame. Wow. Hello there. Yes, you'll love this. I've actually cleaned it all up off camera, so the seal for the bowl was actually pinched, so that wouldn't have been helping too much. Just fill this up off camera, I'll just stop again. Just spilled diesel through one of my brothel creepers. Now it's bloody slippery to walk. There's no seal on that top bolt actually. I have to go and clean my foot. Okay, now the oil filter, I'll have to move the camera to that. That's not actually threaded, that's just bent in and grabbing the thread. So this kit came with a Sakura and a Fleet Guard, which is fine, they're both good brands. I should go and get a ratchet, yes, by the time I do that, it'll be tight. Always been a bit problematic, that cap, since the relief stuck. If those of you seen that first start up video, she kept blowing this open and distorted it because the valve and the pump was rusted closed. So she was just going to full pressure, and this tin cap was the easiest way out. Might have to tickle her in the freckle and get some pressure up and see if that leaks. She hadn't been started about 3 weeks, I suppose. We'll just quickly get a battery and kick her up and see what she does. Oh, we've still got the gear out to fix that. I'll see how she fires after 3 weeks. Might have a bit of air in her after changing that filter. Just let some air out of the pump. No, she stopped. That's that job done. I think all that's left is really a gearbox seal, but I'm not sure that I've got the energy today to change it. I'm going to have a rest in the house for a bit, get my breath back, and I might come back and do that. I'm just going to move the Albion out. This isn't a spoiler alert because it's running. It starts and runs that good and tips, and that wheel there has a wheel seal gone, it's leaking onto the brakes, and it's full air, but it's still manual park, so the handbrake overrides the slack adjusters or the S-cams on the back axle. It's not a lot of adjustment in them though, it doesn't pull them far, so to back them off those 2 clicks or quarter or half a turn, it's just not enough. But I don't want to go any less than that to make the park brake work. You can probably fit a 30-30 boost or something on there and just plumb a dash valve into it, but I don't think, I don't know, we'll see if it works. My dad's just going to move it. This isn't a spoiler alert for a first start or anything either, because that episode wasn't going to exist. It all works too well.
Which is a park brake.
See this episode, or however we air this again, haven't seen it, that was given to me by a wonderful subscriber down the south coast of New South Wales. Everything works perfectly. It's just what a gift. I was never a pommy truck sort of bloke. I mean, I appreciate them, always liked them, but it's just so reliable compared to an American truck of that age that was sitting outside. They just seem to, there's no rust or anything in it. And we'll actually use it. There's jobs we've been putting aside for it that we've been doing with those of you who follow me for a while. We've seen I've got an old Mac, old Flintstone, and an Australian, like an Acco with a tipper on it. I've been using those, but this is so much easier. Still, it's not power steering, but it's not hard either. Got a 400 Leyland in it. I haven't done any filters, and the bloke before never done any filters. What a gift. And they're not worth a lot. He said he'd rather give it to me than see someone pull it apart and part it out or rat rot it or something. And I couldn't agree more. They're not worth a lot. Like $1,000 for it, if that. From what I've seen, I've never paid money for one, but I couldn't be happier with it as a usable thing and as an antique thing. A lot of you people over in, especially those in England, London, I suppose they're worldwide really. Had a lot of them here in Australia, obviously. I'll leave it down there. I will do some work to it. Needs a diaphragm in the front, one of the front wheels, brake booster. Anyway, I'll go to the house and have a rest. I'll come back and probably do that transmission seal. Then the last thing will be to have a lift with her. I need a swivel hook for the front of it too. Unless if you pick something up with any weight, like obviously any weight in it, heavier weight, it's going to follow where that, there's no swivel, it's going to follow where those chains pull tight at. Okay everyone, I'm back on the, I'm going to do the rear seal on the bottom of the transmission now, which is a power takeoff seal. It's actually lower than the transmission itself because of a drop section at the back of the box, so any oil that we put in is just running straight out. I don't really mind if the upper one leaks, but the lower one seemed to have a heap of grass around it. When we've been winding it over, it seems the grass has pushed the seal out. At least that's what I think I can see. Fairly big box for that. Anyway, I've still got COVID. I don't feel good at all, but I just wanted to get out of the house. It's now Now Tuesday, going back to work tomorrow, but I don't feel good at all. I'm still positive too, but see what the morning brings, I guess. I undone this off camera just while I was waiting for another job the other day. Just a couple of bolts so you haven't missed anything. There's one there I've got to cut. Can't see why that couldn't have just been a nut. Okay. I'll show you why I'm doing it from the top. The last one on a C670, not my one, but one I worked on for other people, I'd done it all from underneath, but as you can see, the only slip joint here is up this end where it goes in the transmission. The other end is bolted solid. It's a solid shaft, so in order to get this out, something here's got to give. So there's a clutch pedal shaft there, and under it there's a crossover for the brake, which is going across to the other side back to this wheel, so it's directly under the shaft. So it's either got to come up or down to pull it out either way. So I think it's been made. I could just undo those 3 bolts on that clutch and just lift that whole pedal assembly up out of the way and get that shaft out. So you can see the grass there. I'll just push that seal out, I'd imagine, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. So cut the grass off, take that shaft off for the clutch pedal, and then I'll undo the uni bolts. Try and do it one-handed. There's not a lot of spots to sit the camera at the moment. It's like a bit of rag too. As soon as you tip the oil in, it's running back out. It's not going to be a high performance machine by any means, but it still needs oil in it no matter what we're doing. It won't be a pulling tractor. It won't have to be, probably won't have to be 80, 90 or 85, 140 like it recommends, but I will try and get some of that. I'll tip a bit of S30 or something. I'll bring S30 home after they service machines at work. They're all brand new and 2,000 hours on the oil, but it's been filtered, and the bit of stuff that may be in it, the few contaminants that may be in it, certainly won't hurt these old machines. And it's good. It's a good all-round oil for hydraulic and transmission. I get the boys when they service machines to bring it home, and I don't tip it in anything good, or just old stuff like this, and it won't hurt at all. I don't know if that's one of my rags or something that was wrapped around there many years ago to stop it leaking. Well, in an attempt, I suppose. It's not just grass, it's bloody, it's like baling twine, rag. What are you doing, mate? See, that's a problem to start with, because that should be. I don't know what we're going to do here. Okay, I've just done that off camera. When things are sat around this long, things rust. It's hard to find a size even to fit the bolts. Like it's 7/16, but it's just so tight because of the rust. Anyway, it took that long. I didn't film it. So still a bit of grease actually in that. It's dry, but it's there. I'll just re-grease that when I put it on there. I would have thought that the slip joint would have gone inside there, but obviously not. So I'm going to dig that seal out, and hopefully it seals on the shaft and it hasn't been changed in any way. But I doubt it. looks original, I suppose. I'll just try and dig that seal out with one hand here, or can't get the proper gear. I'm just trying to wing it here. It's hard as the bull's forehead, and it's cracked in a few spots, but it's the way it was leaking. I thought it'd be worse. Forgive my hand, I just like a bit of grass has actually gone in behind it as well. She got all the way to the bearing, but the old bearing's not great, but it's going to do. The new seal should be a little bit more forgiving, I'd imagine. Well, it's going to be okay. I mean, it's a completely different. You can see the ID there is way different for some reason. I reckon that's meant for the slip joint, that one, and this one's actually meant for what it is. So that's either out of something else someone's just put in there and it didn't work to start with, because it wouldn't have enlarged itself. Especially with that spring force on it over all them years, it should have got tighter if anything, but anyway, this will work. It's not real forgiving, but got a bit of lube on the inside and some retaining compound on the outside, and it should be okay. It can be real demanding, these little tin press seals too. Sometimes they distort a little bit when they grab the ball. I suppose it is in there, it's flush. Whether I put some oil in it now, and that movement bothers me a little bit, considering it's not the same as the old seal where it's more rubber around it. But anyway, I'll take the filler out and fill the plug out, put a bit in there, and I won't film that. I'll just get the camera out of the way. So we got that back in. I put the shaft back in, but it is leaking out of the top one now, and I don't know why I didn't see that before. I may not have put enough oil in it, but I did say before I wouldn't worry about if it was the higher one. But while the floor pans are out and the price of it, I think I'm just going to do it. I just pull that hump out, and that little shaft's so easy to get out, so I think I'll just do it. Then it's not going to flick around and make an even bigger mess, because I will gurney it after all this work. So I think that's going to do till I get the seal, because these are the last few jobs we're going to do on it until we use it, and I'm certainly not restoring the thing. I'm just getting it to a stage where I can go and put it away, and it can be used and driven when we want to, and we'll move on to something else. But these will be the last few jobs until we can test it out. So until then, I'll leave it until I get a seal. Okay, so I've put that seal back in off camera. I was doing it yesterday. I was waiting for a mate to turn up, so I didn't have the equipment with me, so I whacked that in. I got another pube parter here off, same part number off the bottom, so I just reordered it. I get most of my stuff off eBay because I'm never in a hurry. You find it one Saturday and you order it through the week and it turns up the following Saturday, so same part number there. Wagga Tractor, I'll get either Queensland Tractor Spares or Wagga Tractor. It generally stocks a lot of this stuff. I'm not sponsored by either, I just pay full price on just through eBay. So thank you to those fellas if any of them will watch, but I haven't got any sponsors. I did have an opportunity there a while back and I didn't know how it all worked and I let that slide, but anyway, I'm not sort of still happy enough just to keep people entertained. So I think the next thing to do is put that floor plate back on. I'd like to wash it first, so whether I'd like to take it down to the gurney and give it a rinse, but all this flaky paint's just going to go everywhere. And I've got a pretty tidy lawn down there, but that's the only thing. But anyway, it might mow out. Coming to an end probably today, this episode. Might run it down and see what she'll pick up within reason, because I am worried about, again, they're only air hoses. Rated at 2250, I think, which is fine, but I don't know how much it'll pick up and what pressure will come into those with the load on it. Excuse me. So reusable ends, which are hydraulic fittings, but I think it's only single wire hose. So that one there's only rubber, no wire, but it's return. So I don't think they'll pop, but it's what more worries me is someone near the load or sitting actually near the control valve itself. But anyway, we'll go down and try and pick something up with her. It needs a swivel hook. If it's all going to work, needs a swivel hook this way. I've just got the chain sitting there, so when there's weight on them, it's all going to hang parallel with the machine. I did bring a Milwaukee grease gun home from our workshop. I'll quickly pump some fat round her with it. I may get a steering box kit for it, because that's not fun at all to steer it. There's a lot of play. As you can see the gap under the wheel there. It moves up and down. You can steer it, but there's just a couple of turns before she reacts either way. So, and the tie rod end, or the drag link end, I did modify just so we could drive it on the last episode, but again, I did order one of them. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the thermostat or that end. Anyway, I'll chase that up. That's fine. And then we'll probably just park it up and just, I don't know, get it going when we can, or if we want to do something else to it, I'll bring it back. Actually, I've still got to drill that out. I should have done that when the radiator was out. Broken bolt in there, I might just drill right through it, put a nut on it to keep that belt tight. I've just got a wedge sitting down in there at the moment. And that cylinder there is a bit iffy, so I'd like to put some weight on it, see if we can push that pressure seal out against the bore. If not, it may even make it worse. It might just blow it out. It might be rust in there and wear it out quicker. I don't know, but it does stop leaking. So it's like it's either in one spot or it's I don't know. It's getting past the whole time, and just when I go up, it comes out. So you can see the mess it's left underneath. So I'll try and put a bit of weight on it. If it blows out, it blows out. I'll just take it off and get a kit for it. That's no problem. More of a test, really. That's about it, I think. Last time it got hot, I did drive it down the back, right down near the trucks, and she got hot. I had to shut it down. Then I don't know why it did, whether it's the thermostat, which I haven't yet changed, but I have fixed a lot of water leaks. I've soldered the radiator up, fixed a few little hoses in behind it, and now it holds water and the belt's tight. So whether that's going to make it, well, that will make a difference, but whether that was why it got hot, I don't know. It'll blow a lot of smoke because I've tipped ATF in the fuel tank. Not heaps, just enough to... I've heard a lot of blokes do it, and I've done it myself before. Get the carbon out of the rings, just try and clean her out a little bit. I don't know if the rings are stuck from sitting so long, but she's when it's revving, it's not missing, but on idle she's got a little bit of a mess. And I've checked all the injectors out; they were working fine. Could be the pump. I don't know, but when it warms up, it's okay. So whether that ATF will do something, and I've also got a treatment in the oil that's meant to do the same thing. So I might just scratch a bit of that stuff off and put the floor plate on and wash the rest of it. I'm not going to do underneath it or anything. I'll do that now, and we might run it down and see what she'll lift. So here I've got some hoses I got made up. Now these are rated at 5,000 psi. The ones I made were out of airline with reusable fittings rated at 2250, so they'll probably still okay for the time being. But if this thing does actually pick something up, they were enough to see if it all works, which is what I wanted. But if you got a bit of weight hanging out over that, that's going to increase the pressure in those cylinders out of sight. So I don't know what the release rated at either. So now that it all worked, I got some hoses made. Now look after me, these blokes. It's a good company, BGS Hydraulics. Not sponsored, just I've used them for that long and they do look after us. So I'm worried about the cylinder on the other side. It leaks, so when you go up and down, it does leak. But we'll put this on, we'll get it going, take it for a run, and see what she'll lift up. I'll try and lift the bogey up of the truck, or find something with a bit of weight in it anyway, and we'll hook the chains up to her and see how she goes. So I'll get rid of the hoses that I did make. I'll put them in stock for something else. Beautiful new airline brake line. It's good stuff to work with actually. One of them's a fuel line, so it's probably not rated at much at all, but I wasn't going to lift with it. That's why I got them made. So there's 3 there, 3 here, so I just got to remember where they go. So one went from the pump to the control valve, which is this one, that's the inlet, which is not that one. And then one went from the fitting here, under here, to the cylinder there, and then it looped over to the other cylinder. That T was here, if you remember at the start of this episode. I think it was the start of this episode was there, and it ran 2 long hoses, but I thought less complicated going that way. So forgive me, I think that's the crossover one, which will go, yeah, that'll be the crossover. So this one here will be the one to the supply to your cylinders. I had this one shortened, actually I just guessed it, so I hope it's okay. The other one I made was a little bit long, but it worked. So that's on there. This one will be supplied from the pump. Really needs a 45 down here because it's rubbing more than I'd like it to on that hydraulic tank. But it's going to do for now to see what she does, and then we'll go from there. Whether I find one or buy one or whatever. For those of you who, again, haven't seen the rest of these episodes, go back and watch it because you can see how this thing's transformed. Not really in the way it looks apart from tyres, but just it was destined for scrap. And to be honest, it's still not a pretty thing, and you know, probably won't be overly handy, but it's saved. It's got a lot of history, it's been saved. So I'm using shifters, yes, because the toolbox is over there and I'd rather just get the job done. They only got to be nipped hoses like this. They're going to look nice with some nice cable tyres on them. Just duck around the other side off camera for a sec. I think this will be the last video on this one, unless I get a steering box kit for it, or you may see it feature in another video where we're using it. So we'll go with some cable ties, tie that up, and then we'll throw a battery in and check her over and see what she'll do. I just bought a packet of cable ties lately. I bought some from, we got a place over here, Australian blokes, Bunnings. It's so dear for a packet of bloody cable ties. Like, I feel guilty for cutting the tail off, and the mate of mine, JD, he wouldn't let me cut it off. But I do. I just don't tell him. But it's so expensive just for these consumable things, and you go through a lot, because I like things to be a little bit neat when I do a job. I always try and put the cut edge in, because these blokes who fix things always hurt themselves on them. That one I've tightened up too much, I can't move it. Put them around like that, because if the bloke's fixing it and laying on it, they always cut you those cut off ends. Okay, that looks good. I'll tie these ones back to the cylinders. It's not original. I think if I found a bonnet for it, I'd reroute it again, but it's not the case at the moment. I think without a bonnet it makes it a little bit unique too. And the bloke that watches my channel, Jock, he sent me a photo he found. He was interested in this machine a few episodes back, and we've been talking just through Instagram Messenger, and he sent me a photo that he found. He went and done some research because he took interest in this particular one, and he found it in the online somewhere in a parade in Melbourne, and now Melbourne's down in Victoria. We're in New South Wales, a long way away, about 9 hours in a car from here. But I assume it would have been driven down there, because that's what they did in the old days. But it was in a parade down there with a gorilla on top of it, and a little trolley in the back with a, I think it looks like a tiger or something in it, but I'll try and put that photo up here as I'm talking, see if we can do that. But it was the actual owner of the circus, Stafford Bullen, so I'm sure he was driving it. That was in 1962, but they had 3 of these, so whether it was this one, there's a few things on it that tell me it's not, and there's a lot that tell me it is. So, and it's red in colour, but this could have, all this paint's that flaky, it could have been 6 colours over its life, I don't know. But I'll put that photo up, and they looked after their gear that much in the circus. They were real proud of it. They nice sign writing, nice paintwork. So if it's not it, it's a great example of what nearly it would have looked like identical. So I just put a thermostat in her off camera, just rattled it off quickly, and the gasket was still good and soft, and I've never had it off, so that would have been, could be original, I don't know, but so it'd be at least 50 or 60 year old. So I took it off and there was none in it, and that's not good, because a lot of people take the thermostat out and say that's a good thing, and they run better, and they actually run hotter most of the time, because a thermostat is that round, but in the middle is a hole that round, and that's actually restricted to slow the water down going through the radiator. If you take that out, it just pumps flat out, and it hasn't got time to cool. So if you're ever going to take a thermostat out, take it out, pull the guts out of it, and put that tin plate back in with that small hole in it, because that's going to restrict it and slow that flow down, so the fan and the radiator can do its job. And that's what a thermostat actually does as well. It's a restrictor. It's set to not only for temperature wise to close on and off when the temperature reaches what it should be. It's a restrictor as well. So keep that in mind if you're going to take the thermostat right out. Sometimes I'll run hotter, because it's just flat out. There's no time for it to cool. So put a battery in it now. I'll fill the water up. I'll check the oil while you're watching. She's between half and full. I've actually got an additive in the oil too, I think I told you earlier on in this episode, and an additive in the fuel tank, which is ATF and an additive in the oil, just to try and loosen them rings up and stop a bit of the smoke. But it's going to create more smoke because it's burning that oil, but as the fuel comes through and cleans itself out, it may get better. So I'll put a battery in it, and it's been about, I don't know, 2 weeks since she runs, so we'll see what happens. Alright, we'll see if she goes after 2 weeks. You can see the old Transtar behind her looking out over us. That's one of the things I'm going to do if we can get the channel to a full-time thing, but I'm way off that at the moment. So just click like, click subscribe, comment, get it recognised if you can. does, yeah, it's only a bike.
not sure what's going to happen here. I don't know the capacity of this thing. I don't know if that other cylinder on the other side is going to pop. They both may pop. Something might split apart, I don't know. It hasn't lifted in 45 years probably. So what would that be? Probably, I don't know, ton and a half, 2 ton maybe the back of that truck. Another thing is, it hasn't really got a counterweight, so if it picks those back wheels up, it's going to take off. It's not, the only brakes on the tractor is on the back, unless it's got 4-wheel drive, which this hasn't. So it's a fair leverage out there. Unless something pops or it lifts the back up, we'll see what happens. Going off, so it's probably, I don't even know if that'd be 2 ton the back of that truck. Probably 1500, could be more. Probably its limit if it goes up and then stops. You can see it trying. It didn't pop anything, so I don't know what the relief setting is. It's probably worth putting a gauge on it. It might be too low, or it just might be. It's a lot of leverage out there, though, so probably a lot heavier than a circus tent. Maybe it's not. Take it down to that next thing. Wouldn't be much lighter, I don't think. That one's got all the hoist and everything on it, the Austin. The Bedford is just a crate, but it's got all that shit on it, so I reckon its limits out there would be a ton. It's not too bad. I don't know what else I could pick up that I know the weight of, really. But you can see she's trying at least, so. Okay, I'm going to try and lift this TE20 up, this Massey Ferguson here. Probably not a good ad, but that wouldn't be 500 kilos, but I reckon its limit's about a ton, which is not too bad that far out. tractor up, but that wouldn't, but I don't know, that may be a ton, that tractor, I doubt it, but I'm thinking that's all the lift, but you know, it's probably all it did lift in its day. It's only a farm tractor with it's only a small pump on it. It's only the standard hydraulic system that come out to run a plough, so it's not doing too bad. Fair lot of leverage out there. Good for an engine or something, or not everything you unload's heavy like ploughs, and I think it's great. I think it's nothing popped, nothing leaked. May have to put a pressure gauge on there and see if it is up to spec, but I'm fairly happy with that. It hasn't got hot yet either. Well, everyone, that's going to do it for this episode on the 6G crane Chamberlain. We may decide to do a bit more to it, which we will film. If not, you will see it again in videos where we possibly use it. So thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to Patreon members. Please like, share, subscribe. It helps us grow, and we'll see you on the next one.